Good Friday morning, everybody. It is the 28th of June, 2024. I'm Dave with Dave's Old Iron. And speaking of old iron, that's what we're doing the road trip for today. We're going to go retrieve something that I used to own almost 30 years ago. There's quite the story behind how long I owned it and why it left the farm. So anyway, hang on to your seats and here we go. Well, here the old girl sits. And like I said, I think this is one I used to own umpteen million years ago. Yep. Steel side panels and aluminum rears. That's what I used to have on mine. Yep. I'm seriously thinking this old girl is the old tractor I used to own. Gonna have to get rid of the bird nest, clean that up a bit. But I bet I can make this old girl run again. Yeah. So what is my little treasure that we found today? It's my old Oliver Model 70. Yeah, pretty neat little old tractor, and all the sheet metal on it is still straight. Looks like it's still a 6-volt system. And yeah, I remember the cancerous rust that was here underneath the battery tray. Used to be some pop rivets in there holding the tray up and whatnot. The grill is about as straight as I remember. It does have a couple of bent bars on this side. It's one there, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, none of those are real terrible. And if I remember right, one of these corners had some little bitty rivets holding it. Yep, right here. Little bitty pop rivet. Yep, and the other bent bar up here. Yeah, all in all, the tin on this whole thing was really super straight. And this does look exactly like the machine that I used to have out at the farm. Even these side panels are still the aluminum panels that were on the thing. The back two on either side are aluminum and the front ones were steel. Go figure. I never did figure out how that happened. The cowl has the usual rusting out on this side. And yeah. Tach, oil pressure, amp gauge, and temperature gauge. And I think this thing up here was for a light of some sort. We'll have to play with that and see what it is. This is the first tractor I'd ever seen with these rubber bushing things for the seat, for a floaty ride seat kind of a thing. Yeah, they're shot. They're going to need to be replaced yet. Yeah, a little bit buggered up here. I remember that. And this hole being here. And there was one over here on the back corner over here as well. A little hole. And I think there was a bullet tail light thing possibly up here in that one. But yeah, all in all, this is the machine I used to own umpteen million years ago. I even remember that dent in the loop for the drawbar. There's block casting number, and yeah, down here is the brass tag with a serial number of 243187. Taking another look there at the serial number of 243-187, that actually makes it like a December of 1942. So yeah, this would have been a war baby. Yeah, from World War II. Being that late in 1942 kind of makes me question this tractor originally coming out of the factory with a generator to run the headlights and a distributor ignition. It seems like to me it'd be more correct to have a magneto ignition and no lights on it and no electrics, but it does have it. In fact, it probably shouldn't even really have had rubber tires on it because there was a rubber shortage going on by then and whatnot. So unless Oliver had a bunch of this stuff sitting around somewhere, yeah, kind of special to have it with all these goodies. While I'm sitting here talking to the fellow that owns my old tractor, which I have now paid him for, he was talking about possibility of me getting a hold of this Oliver 70. Now, this one has the cast iron rear rims and a single front, but it is going to need a lot of work. The cowling is rusted through like on all of them. It's got a chunk missing out of the rear side panel. This side panel is salvageable. The grill's toast and she's missing some parts, but yeah, with a single front wheel, that'd make an interesting addition to the collection. Anyway, we'll get this thing loaded and get it back to the house and dig into it a little deeper. Well, there it is. It's sitting out here with my lineup of a 1939 A Farmall, an unknown year BN Farmall, and my 1945 BN Farmall. And there she is, my 1942 Oliver 70. Now that the old girl is here at the farm, let's take a good look over and see what we need to do to make her run. Let's take a little closer look under the hood here. Yeah, a lot of bird mess, and probably are going to need to take the pressure washer to this thing, clean it out really super well, and it looks like it could use a new drain cock thing right there. Leave it as a 6-volt or convert it to a 12-volt alternator? It's a good question right about now. Somebody has done some wiring to it. Yeah, it looks like decent spark plug wires, but yeah, all the wiring in this thing's going to get replaced. And that little red cable coming down here to that starter, that's definitely going to get replaced. I mean, look at this right here. It got hot. Baked the insulation jacket off of it. Yeah, so all that's going to get replaced with heavier gauge wiring. Now this aluminum panel has one divot in it right there. That's why that's got that chip paint on it. So I think what I'm going to do is see if I can find a really nice set of steel rear panels and put on this thing, and save those aluminum ones for somebody that wants to have a full set of front and rear aluminums, because there was some earlier front ones that were aluminum. So, but with the war effort, I'm surprised this has those aluminum rears on it. And check this out, folks. She ain't stuck. Nope, she turns over. So that's a good sign. My son Skylar has always given me garbage for changing out tires on a machine that doesn't do anything. Well, these need to be changed out too eventually. So when I get around to painting the rims red again, yeah, that one's pretty well cracked. Yeah, so when I get around to cleaning up those rims, painting them red, we'll probably put some new rubber on the old girl on the front. And like I said earlier, these things are leaking grease and whatnot, lubricant out of the steering gearbox that's in there, so we'll have to take this off from here down the pedestal, see what's going on in there, and if those have been drilled all the way through, we'll clean up those threads, put a bolt in there, Loctite it, and then braze it shut, grind it off smooth, and paint it. Now if this old Kelly tire was in any kind of shape like the Goodyear crossed on the other side, we'd probably keep it. This is the rear tire on the driver's side, is what I call it. It's an 11.2 by 38 Sure Grip Goodyear. It does have some weather checking on it, but it is in really good shape for its age. Yeah, it's over 30 years old, of course, since I owned it, and it was on it then. So yeah, if we could come up with another Goodyear. Ooh, well, maybe not. There is a bit of a crack coming in all the way around there. So maybe we'll end up having to put new tires on her all the way around. See that little wing nut right there? Yeah, and if you look in there, it's flopping around part of the canvas cloth that went up in front of the radiator. And there's another screw hole right here, and there was a roller kind of a thing in there that went across, and that was a shutter to control the heat in the engine. Back before they had a thermostat, they'd roll that canvas up and down, make the engine run warmer or cooler depending on the ambient temperature and the workload. The choke cable still pulls in and out, and it smells like bad gas in this thing. So I imagine there's probably some slopping around in there that needs to come out. Bird poo aside, these are what they call the 5 3/4 inch guide headlights. They were common on a few different makes. So I need glass for that one over there, gaskets all the way around, new bulbs, and that sort of thing. Let's see how this back one is over here. Yeah, it's broken as well. Sorry, we're looking into the sun, but yeah, it's got a V-shaped crack in it. So yeah, 2 new lenses, reflectors, and bulbs are in order, and the rubber torsion doohickeys for the seat to get the seat jacked up where it's supposed to be, so that we can actually use that little square tube right there. That little square box right there, yeah, that's a tool box right there. See the little lock mechanism right there to keep the lid shut? Yeah, so when this thing is up in the air where it's supposed to be, if those were any good, you'd had access to that toolbox, and the end of the toolbox is where the choke rod is. I'll have to do some digging and see if I can't find some new yellow gauges, yellow face gauges for this thing. Yeah, so what the game plan is for this particular tractor is it's going to get a ground up restoration eventually. It will be a show tractor, probably not much else, because there's a lot of sheet metal on this thing that needs a lot of attention, a lot of work, and they're really a pretty tractor when you got them painted up and all clean with the red wheels, the yellow pinstriping, and in the dark green paint. Some of these had an orange pinstripe, and I see traces of orange on the belly casting. So I'm going to have to do a little research on the colors that they painted these things back in the day. Yeah, so, and it could be it was just yellow that's turned red or something. That wartime paint was really kind of goofy stuff. So what is the game plan for this 1942 Oliver for this year? Well, this year, not a heck of a lot. At most, I'm going to clean out the fuel line, replace all the wiring, gauges, battery cables, that sort of thing, and decide if I want to go 12 volt or keep it 6 volt. 6 volt's more authentic, and where it's such an original tractor, I kind of hate to goof it up by going to an alternator, especially where it's not going to be a daily use tractor. It'll be more of a show tractor. So we may just leave it as a 6 volt system, leave the generator on it, and flip up the hood, make some sort of little bracket to hold the hood's sides up when we go to a show or something, so people can see that there is an engine under this thing. Yeah, big old 6-cylinder engine. They run smoother than the top. They're a wonderful engine. So yeah, that's the game plan for right now, is just to see if we can get the thing running, you know, service it, change all the fluids and that sort of thing. I'm not going to worry about headlights and cosmetics, that sort of thing, like getting a new steering wheel, unless I get a smoking deal or anything like that. But anyway, I'm glad to have the old girl back. Now, the funny story about this tractor from 30 years ago. I'm going to give you a brief history of the rundown of ownership of this thing first. The original purchaser passed away. My friend Dale bought it at that fellow's estate sale. I bought it off of Dale. Well, the next day or so after I bought it from Dale, I think it was actually an hour after Dale delivered it, I was married at the time. My wife and I tried pull starting this thing with the Super M. Well, unbeknownst to us, a clutch pin had come out of the linkage down here on this side of the tractor. So when this thing lit up and started to run, I was cool, great. So I stopped the Super M thinking she was going to hit the clutch, because I saw her foot on the clutch pedal pushing like mad. And I figured she'd roll to a stop, and I'd jump off the Super M right quick and go kick the Oliver out of gear and check things over and relieve my wife of the responsibility. Well, as fate would have it, that pin being missing, stomping on the clutch pedal wasn't stopping the tractor, and she saw that she was heading right to the back end of the tractor I was on, so she started cutting the steering wheel to the right to miss me. Well, that rear tire right here crawled up, halfway up the rear tire on the passenger side of the Super M, and dang near rolled this tractor over. Well, this thing sat in the driveway right where it stalled, and she made me call people to get this thing sold. So I owned this tractor for just about 2.5 days or so before an old fella decided he was going to buy it. So he bought it. He was the 4th owner of it. Well, come to find out sometime later, a couple of months later, he'd passed away. The tractor had been sold at his estate sale down the line and ended up near Ogden, Utah, out towards the Great Salt Lake. Well, then a few years ago, the 6th owner of the tractor, the guy I just bought it from that fellow's estate sale down there by Ogden, hauled it back up to Rupert, and now he's selling it. So I'm the 3rd and 7th owner of this tractor, and I think somewhere on here, maybe on the back of the seat, we'll paint Lucky 7. Yeah. But yeah, this one's going to be a keeper in the bunch. Anyway, if you like old iron and whatnot, this is what we're going to be doing now around the farm. So make sure you hit the like button, thumbs up, thumbs down there at the bottom. Leave a comment if you'd like to, and for heaven's sakes, if you can, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Yeah, more subscribers I get, the more comments I get, more we'll keep doing that you like. So anyway, stay tuned. We will have this thing up and running probably before the end of the year. Don't know what else we'll work on, but first up, we've got to get that little Allis Chalmers B fixed and running. Got to get the loader off it, get it working, put the 3-point hitch on it, and put the tires on it. So that'll be our first big project other than hauling home toys. And as for that other one that's over there, don't know yet. We might have a sister to this one sitting in the barn. Anyway, I'm Dave. We'll catch up with you later. Y'all have a good one now, and don't forget, right down there, big red thing, it says subscribe on it. Go ahead and click it if you would. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye for now.